My name's Jeb, and I'm going into the tomato jungle. Welcome to the tomato jungle. It's dark. It's deep. There may be creatures. It'll be dangerous. Yeah, Jebediah! And what we want to do here is prevent what happened on the other plant. Let's take a look. Our early girl got larger first, and we had to trim out all of the bottom branches to deal with some early blight. And we get to look at all the fruit now. So we don't want to have to trim it so heavily because we don't want to get sun scald on the fruit, and because we want leaves and all that good stuff. So I'm going to trim out the bottom leaves and just kind of clean up the plant, mainly in the center, get some better airflow, and also see if there's some tomatoes in there, because I see the tomatoes and I think there's some hiding in there. And I may trim a few suckers if they're going a direction I don't want, but probably not a lot. So here's what I found in here, and mostly it's not pretty. We got yellowing leaves, and it could be from blight. It could also be from, there's no sunlight, so it dies, and then whatever attacks the dead leaf. We've got blossom end rot, which is unfortunate, but it's good to know. And some of these, there's our blossom end rot. And some of these that are badly affected I'm going to pick off. Some that are less affected will just have a little funky end. It's kind of funny because right out here we have some plants. We have some tomatoes outside the plant, and they got a little, a little funk at the end. But I wouldn't call that blossom end rot. I mean, it's kind of. So we'll dig in here, but also, and with the blossom end rot, it may be no good, but a little surprise, a red tomato. And why don't we just pick it off and see? Looks like the blossom end rot isn't too bad. It's a little malformed. Let's take a look. It's not terrible. It's a little funky on the bottom. I'll slice it up and eat it and tell you how it tastes. And yes, I did just stop pruning that plant so I could slice open this tomato. It's a little underripe, but I want to know what it looks like inside, and I'm hungry. So I'm going to cut around that, unless it's totally nasty inside, and put a little salt on it and eat it. Man, I'm hungry. And there's some other tomatoes from the early girl too, by the way. Delicious. So here you can see some of the misshapenness inside, but the problem here at the end hasn't really penetrated the tomato. And this side, it's a little underripe. It's about to get eaten. So I put a little salt on these. This is what's left after trimming off the funky parts. And while that salt melts, why don't we talk for a second about blossom end rot. And from what I understand, it's a calcium deficiency, tends to cause that. And usually it's not because you don't have enough calcium in your soil. And we have very hard water here, so I don't think it's an issue with not enough calcium. The cause of it often, I believe, is some other nutrient that prevents the plant from uptaking water correctly or calcium correctly. I don't know what nutrient that is. But also calcium comes into the plant with the water, right, as it comes up and it gets up through the leaves. And so if the leaves aren't pulling enough water up, then you could have a calcium deficiency. And I think that's why the center of the plant, those fruits, are showing the deficiency more, because those leaves are not getting hit by the sun. It's humid in there. They're not pulling up a lot of water, and the fruits are suffering. That's just my guess, though. Gotta put some salt on your tomatoes. So good. That's really good. Okay, back to pruning. Well, some people would say this tomato has a smiley face, but I think it's a frowny face. And lost a lot of fruit to blossom end rot. So hopefully cleaning up this plant is going to help it out. Let's take a look at what we did here. We removed a lot of infected material, dead material, and then I just had to thin some out to get some airflow in here. And it's looking a lot better. I just had to stop trimming because, you know, sometimes when you trim you get a little wild. And the bottom's all cleaned out. So hopefully this plant can make a recovery. Thanks for watching.